Thought for the day. Sometimes the strength that we have gained comes from the madness we've survived.
Welcome to 7 Minutes for Yourself. I'm Christina, and I'm so glad you've joined me for what I believe will be 7 of the most enriching minutes of your day. Let's take this time to reconnect with ourselves and improve our well-being.
In today's episode of 7 Minutes for Yourself, we are exploring 7 ways to give ourselves a mental health check-in. Have a listen.
So how do you know if you're doing well or if you need to make changes or seek professional help? Here are 7 questions to ask yourself to do a mental check-in. The first thing you can look at is your life balance. How is your energy distributed between 4 domains in your life? Your physical health, achievements, which include work, school, money, and other accomplishments, relationships, which would be family, friends, acquaintances, and general community life. And then the 4th domain is meaning and future. And this would incorporate your values and goals. These are the main areas where we spend our time and energy. Take a few minutes to think about how much energy you spend in each area. If you work 8 to 10 hours a day, that's a third of your time, and you may not be able to change that. But time doesn't always equal energy output. Does your work require even more of your energy because you worry about it when you're not working, or you even do work in your off hours? Do you come home so drained at the end of the day that you don't have much left to do anything else, like prepare a healthy meal instead of getting takeout or connect with people who you care about? The main idea with this self-reflection is to recognize areas in your life that you may be neglecting and try and find some ways to reserve more of your energy for those areas. Number 2 check-in question is, how have your moods been on most days? We will always have good days and bad days, but look at how you've been in the past month. And yes, a month is a long time, but you want to look back and see what the pattern is. Negative emotions to identify would be feeling low and discouraged on most days, having more anxiety or anger. How much have you laughed in the past weeks? You don't need to quantify, but just think, have you found things amusing and enjoyable? You're not going to find things funny if you're sad or annoyed on most days. Number 3 is, how have you been sleeping? The average amount of sleep required for an adult is 7 to 9 hours. If you sleep less than that, you may notice that you can still function, but you're running on a battery that's not fully charged. You also build up a sleep debt that affects your thinking and how you process information. Sleep deprivation also has negative physical effects. But aside from the number of hours that you get, what's the quality like? Are you tossing and turning? You may be in the bed for 10 hours, but you get up a few times during the night and end up only sleeping 5 hours. An easy test for your quality of sleep is, how rested do you or don't you feel when you wake up in the morning? Number 4 is, how well have you been taking care of your body? Have you been craving processed foods with lots of sugar and salt? When we get stressed, some people crave sweets and some people crave salty or savory foods. These cravings can be a signal that you're under a lot of stress and using food to cope, or it could just be that these are the foods that your body is used to eating and you're in a rut of eating this way. Also, how much exercise are you getting? The trend of working remotely has been super convenient in a lot of ways, but it has also decreased our activity levels and increased how much time we spend sitting in front of computers as a whole. Number 5 check-in question is related to 4, but from a different angle, and that is, how have you been feeling physically? The mind and the body are connected, and poor mental health can show up in physical signs like feeling tired all the time, or starting out with a decent amount of energy, but feeling utter exhaustion at the end of the day. And it's not because you were doing physical labor either. You could have spent the whole day in Zoom meetings and feel like you're going to collapse. Other physical symptoms could be headaches, nausea, stomach aches, constipation, and muscle aches. You can get tension headaches when you feel stressed, or you can get a headache from neck tension. Jaw clenching can cause pain that affects the muscles of your face and head. Number 6 check-in question is, who is your support system? Do you have someone you can turn to when you need to talk or need help? Or are you the person who is there for everyone else, but when you're down, there's no one around? That's a really lonely place to be. And there's different scenarios that can make that happen. Like maybe your inner circle is only comprised of dependent people who don't have the capacity to give back. In this case, you need to connect with some people who are more your equal when it comes to maturity and emotional assets. Another scenario is maybe you don't know how to communicate your needs to people, and they assume that you're good and can't recognize that you're not unless you explicitly ask for help. These are just a couple of thoughts on this issue, but the overall point is to take a look at what kind of support you have. It doesn't have to be filled with people who come to your rescue, but instead people who you feel are on your side, listen to you, and make you feel good when you're in their presence. We can sometimes spend too much time around people who take from us and make us feel bad about ourselves. I talk about one reason for that in a video that I did on breaking the cycle of negative relationships. The last mental check-in question that I'll talk about is, what are you doing that gives you joy? If that answer is nothing, I hate everything I do, then this really needs to be a focus for change. You may not be able to control doing the things that drain you, but you can try to balance it with activities that make you happy. They don't have to be things that sound impressive, like hiking or volunteering at a soup kitchen. They could be as basic as binge watching a show, playing with your pet, playing a card game, or even engaging in a craft. Everyone needs downtime, and you need some of it every day. And sleep is not downtime. That's battery recharge time. You can wear yourself out if you're busy completing your to-do list all the way up until you drop into the bed and then wake up and start another day of the same thing. You need some time to be quiet or do something that serves you while you're awake and aware. You need to experience the pleasure of engaging in something you enjoy.
That concludes today's episode of 7 Minutes for Yourself. Please take a moment to rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts. Today and every day with your kiddo is a gift. Enjoy it. Thanks for tuning in.